Scratching my eye. Okay, changes in recruitment. So, because of the pandemic, most of our recruitment has moved online. You'll find if you apply for a job for us, you might have an online interview, you would have online assessments, whereas before we would have done a lot of that face to face. And it's all about keeping people safe, but also our teams are working from home. So what I would say for tips and tricks on how to pass that, you should really just be yourself. Try and get your personality across the screen. Really just sell yourself as best you can. Try and set up your background in such a way that it's neutral. There's not going to be many distractions for you because it is still an interview. You should still be formally prepared. You might want to wear interview attire. Also, if there are any distractions in the house, try and remove them where possible. But equally, your recruiters and your hiring managers are going to be really understanding because we're also working from home and we understand the challenges that you're facing because we might have a dog or our kids in the house as well. So don't worry too much, but just try and set yourself up in the best possible way. As a recruiter, it's changed the way I approach things in that I am contacting candidates online. I don't see anybody face to face, but I still want to have those conversations and see you. So try, if you are talking to any recruiters out there, try and turn your camera on. Talk to them just as you would normally in a face-to-face interview and just put your best foot forward because there are still job opportunities out there even during this pandemic.
COVID-19 has had an impact on how we recruit new staff. We prefer to have virtual interviews and get comfortable with being in front of the camera. Ensuring that you have tested out your internet connection and have tested your audio and camera before an interview can help minimise any errors on your interview performance.
As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, all of Almac's interviews are now being conducted virtually. Many of the tips for face-to-face interviews also hold true for a virtual interview. Prepare thoroughly, present yourself well, remember to smile, and try to relax. When holding your virtual interview, choose a space that is free from distractions. Check that the sound and video connections are working beforehand. Have a glass of water nearby, and remember to switch off your mobile phone or to turn it to silent mode.
As far as the application process goes, this is now all online, as you might expect. So you'll start with an online application form, including a covering letter and CV. And you'll also have a couple of questions about eligibility and whether your qualification is suitable for the role that you're applying for. Next, you'll be asked to do a series of game-based assessments. So this has replaced the traditional group exercises that you might expect. And then you'll be asked to do a pre-recorded interview, which means that we'll send you questions and then you just need to record yourself answering them to camera like I'm doing now. So you get a bit of a chance to rehearse those. And finally, the last stage is a live interview over Skype or something similar. And there'll be one of our hiring managers and possibly one or two other interviewers present on your call. And they will do their very best to make you feel relaxed and comfortable. So try not to worry, and we wish you the best of luck.
Before COVID-19, almost all our recruitment would have included a face-to-face interview, and where there was testing, there would have been some form of test centre used in a lot of cases. In some cases now, that's still going to be the format, with all the appropriate social distance measures put in place. However, a lot of our recruitment is moving online through the increased use of video interviews and online testing. My tips would be to read all the materials and guidance you've been sent as part of your invite to the test or interview. You could also look online for similar practice materials too.
So we're continuing to recruit for roles because that helps our clients to deliver their services and continue with their businesses. But any interviews and assessments are taking place in a virtual setting, much like this video today. I guess what I would say is try to treat it as much as possible like you would a face-to-face meeting. So make sure that you prepare for it, make sure you dress for the occasion, always have a glass of water ready for the actual interview, and try to limit any distractions that you would have in the room. And then in terms of during the interview, try to make sure you're maintaining eye contact with the interviewer because that will help you build up a connection like you would do in a face-to-face setting. When they are speaking, try to listen attentively and show that by using nods and smiling when they are speaking. Use arm movements if it feels comfortable to you.
COVID-19 has changed the way we are doing our recruitment, with all our interviews now taking place virtually. We have adjusted our approach to ensure these are suitable and inclusive as possible for all of you candidates, offering different platforms for the interview along with any reasonable adjustments that may be required. I'd like to share with you some top tips in preparing for an interview. So researching the organisation is key. The second key thing really is all about planning and preparation. So as it's a virtual interview, it's making sure that you're comfortable with the technology being used, and do a test run with friends or family just to make sure that it's all set up correctly. Also, the other thing is providing examples where you've excelled, where you've been challenged, what you're really proud of, because when we're interviewing, those sorts of stories and those realistic examples really excel, and it really makes us see the true picture and the story. So if you're proud of something, it tends to flow better.
Virtual interviews are no different to an in-person interview, and therefore it is always important to monitor your body language. Sit up straight, smile, keep your camera at eye level, and make sure you focus on your camera when speaking and not the image of the hiring manager or recruiter. When you receive your interview details, make sure that you test your technology. Prior to your interview, test your equipment and internet connection again. It's important to always log in a few minutes early, just as you would arrive early for a face-to-face interview. Another tip for virtual video interviews is to set the scene. Find a room with optimal lighting and a plain background so you are the focal point of the conversation. Also turn off your mobile phone and close any nearby windows to minimise background noise. Just because you're on a laptop or computer doesn't mean that you can click and search for answers mid-interview. Always come prepared. Make sure you research the company ahead of time, go over your CV, and rehearse answers to some common interview questions. Ultimately, the key to acing a virtual interview is proper preparation. From ensuring that your technology is working, to conducting research before the meeting, and making sure you're ready to answer all questions that will set you apart from all other applicants.